Welcome back to our podcast. We are listening, your go to destination for understanding the gaps between wellness seekers and wellness providers. And we are here to bridge them for you. I'm Pulkit Garg, and today we are joined back by the incredible Ronak, a transformation specialist and an entrepreneur to unravel the secrets of balancing our masculine and feminine energies for unstoppable living. And before we explore this intriguing topic, Ronak, can you share a bit about why balancing these energies is crucial for our personal and professional success?
Because without that you cannot achieve your ultimate goal, which I feel is more than accolades, is more than trophies, is more than valuation, more than testimonials. Once the person goes beyond these positions, the material things, he would come close to knowing who he truly is.
Ronak, a lot of our listeners, I'm sure and assuming as well at the same time, the concept of masculine and feminine energies would be pretty new. And, for me also, I got introduced to masculine and feminine energies around a year back. And if I've done my research correctly and my understanding so far is correct, then all genders have both the energies within them. So if you just help us understand what masculine and feminine energies are and how does it impact both the genders?
So, that's like there is sun, there is moon, there is light, there is dark, there is Shiv, there is Shakti. Similarly, we also are a balanced being, which we have our masculine energy and as well as feminine energy. Now, when I say feminine energy, does not mean that I am a female or I have female organs. That does not mean. So people think कि feminine energy मतलब मुझे में कुछ गड़बड़ है. When I say about feminine energy, meaning emotions, heart, self-love, breathing, stillness, these are all feminine traits. And the masculine is of course action, vision, purpose, going forward, just going out. That's masculine. So if a person is not balanced with the dynamics, he would look someone like a workaholic who is 25, 30 but looks 45. His age must be old, or young, but he looks way older than his age. His health is not supporting him. He can't remain silent. He can't keep his mind quiet. That would be an imbalanced. That would be same in women as well. Women who are very headstrong, argumentative, very alpha. That also is not a right balance. So I believe, and that's what majority of my work is, that how do we balance these energies? Now, these energies balance can be achieved through certain protocols, but unless and until the person is not really aware and ready to accept the fact that I need to balance them out, otherwise I will not be able to function properly for my life. It won't happen. So the majority of the part in feminine, which is to surrender, feminine are known to be surrendering. So that's where majority of men are left behind. वो लोग surrender नहीं कर पाते. They want to hold on to it because of, again, the ego. The masculine is the ego. So the ego holds him back and doesn't let him surrender. That's why, you see a lot of men want to take control of everything in their house, on the streets, in their office, everywhere. They want to take control. That is not a true leadership. That is very unconscious behavior that is running in their subconscious mind. Because a fully developed, mature masculine would never control. He would know that controlling is not the right way to lead. To lead is to demonstrate qualities and character, so that is why balancing is so important.
Thanks a lot, Ronak, for helping our viewers understand what both the energies are, masculine and feminine. Ronak, previous podcast we touched upon that you have enabled over 2,000 people in unlocking their inner powers. And from your experience while you were working with these 2,000 people, how unlocking our inner powers, really play a pivotal role in our everyday lives, relationships, and our work?
So the people that I've worked with at an early stage, I was also a work in progress. I would not say I was fully ready and aware to deliver the knowledge that I'm delivering today. But let me take a few case studies from last 500 or 100. The problem that I see with those people was a lot of power struggle within themselves. There was confidence, but there was self-doubt as well. There was stillness, but there was a lot of anxiety as well. So they had a lot of emotion that was like ice and fire, and the fire was heavy on them and the ice wouldn't help them. So my work with them is all about silencing, or I would say eliminating all that they are not, so they can become that they are, which means truly all of us have a power Now, I know it sounds cliche. People might have heard this hundreds of times, or maybe not, but we all have a certain kind of, I would say, an energy enhancer within us, like a pacemaker that is working for us, helping us. But because we are not aware and not connected with that source within us, that's why we feel powerless. That's why we do a lot of things which we see people around us doing. A lot of people pick up the patterns from how society is responding or how people around them are responding. So if a kid runs in a shopping mall, example, so one parent shouts at the kid. Now second person who's about to get married, who's about to have a kid, learns, okay, अच्छा ये भाग रहा है बच्चा तो चिल्लाना चाहिए मुझे as a father. He repeats the same behavior, and then her woman also learns, oh, if my man is shouting at my kid, then I think that must be the right thing to do. So usually we all are so brainwashed by people around us as well, when we don't realize that, and that is why we kind of mimic the behavior patterns and all things which we see around us, and that is why we don't really know who we are, and that is why we are not free. Maybe financially free, but what's the point of financially freedom if there is no mental and emotional freedom?
I do align with you that it's really important to get that harmonious balance between our energies and unlocking that inner power. So, am I right in saying that when we are unlocking our inner powers, we are also in a manner bringing that balance, which enhances our approach towards our relationship, our communication, and other aspects of our lives?
So I would say more than a balance, Pulkit, here the point is that we know who we are truly in our heart. And when we truly know who we are, we would do things which we know are right for us and for the other person. Now, whether it could be cutting off a relationship, we would cut it off. If it makes sense for us to step back from a company and not work with them, we would do that. We would become more assertive. We would have a virtue which we learn in our Hatikohi is called as accurate perception and correct expression. So the person who's aware of his inner powers, he would be aware, very much assertive, confident, kind, compassionate, empathetic, but also knows how to draw boundaries.
Well, you said that it's important and imperative to know who we are. And you also talked about knowing the source within us.
Mm-hmm.
And in our previous episode, also, we were talking about the source code. That's one of your workshops. Can you just reflect upon the three aspects of knowing who we are, knowing the source, and how the source code workshop really enables the individuals?
So knowing who we are is a process which I really don't want to cut that short journey for people, because I feel that every person should not listen to what I'm saying, or they would consider my statement as a thumb rule कि हाँ अच्छा ये बोल रहा है तो ये सही है. So knowing who we are is an inward process. Everybody has their own path to know who they are, because if a certain person tells, a certain coach tells or whatever, he tells, oh, you are a soul, you are this, but that's just very theoretical. Has the person really experienced it? So then he will keep on saying I'm a soul, but he still behaves like a very human. He doesn't know what soul is. I would prefer not to answer that questions, because I want people to really question themselves who they are. They can just put this simple question, who am I truly, without this body, without this mind? That would lead them to certain place, which would lead them again to certain place. So it would be a crime, I believe, of mine to give people those spoon feedings. Having said that, the source code is all about helping people realize who they are. Yes, I cannot. So, my process of knowing who I am is still going on. I know who am I, but वो बातें खाली बातें होती है ना. That's just talk. Talk is cheap. I don't really believe in talks anymore. I really want to experience those things firsthand. Only then I want to tell them कि हाँ ये है such. And I have experienced certain things which I cannot reveal right now on the stage, because people might not be open and ready for those things. But the point being is, in the workshop that I do source code, and the reason I have named it as source code is because you see a computer program, and because I come from an IT background, that really helped me with the name. So when you're writing a code, आपका सोर्स कोड जो होता है आपका ओरिजिनल फॉर्म होता है, राइट? सो आप वहां पे अगर गड़बड़ करते हो तो आपका पूरा आउटपुट गलत आ जाएगा. यू हैव सिंटैक्स एरर्स.
Yes,
source code गलत नहीं हो सकता, which means you have to put accurate details. And then what is our source code? Humans, genes, yes, physical form में genes हमारा source code है. Our cells is our source code, correct? So I work on that first segment, which is physical. Second segment is mental. Now, what is source code for our mental body? It is our thoughts, our beliefs. So I work on that. And third segment, on a spiritual level, what is our source code? Realizing that we are not the body, right? Now, it might take a lot of time for some people to really understand this. That I'm not the body. How can I not be the body? Because they have attached themselves so many years with the body, right? Pamper karte hain usko, ye karte hain, wo karte hain. They have attached their whole identity is only about their physical body, which is also a block to connect with inner power. So if you're so attached to certain kind of identity, that if I keep saying I'm a speaker, then I would never know who I can truly be. I might become a politician, I might become chief minister, I don't know. But if I keep attaching myself to certain thing, then फिर मेरा growth वहाँ रुक जाएगा, and I will not really know who I am. So my job with them in source code is to remove all the labels. A lot of unlearning is done, a lot of unconditioning is done, because at the core we are pure, but we have so much of dirty energies, labels, conditionings, all these things that have gathered dust around us like an onion. So if you peel the onion, the layers, you get to the core. So my whole workshop goal with source code is to help them get to the core of who they are. That will obviously help them flourish their all areas, be it health, wealth, relationship, career.
I believe that's a tedious but really important iterative process to get into for every individual.
Yeah, it's tedious, but let me ask you this. How long have we been living our life with certain principles, and how has it helped us? Have we really reached anywhere in our inner world, not the outer world, but inner world?
That's going to be subjective for all our listeners. It's going to vary from person to person.
But I think that's a good reflection question to ask, each one of us personally, that have I really reached anywhere with all that I'm doing?
Amazing. Ronak, let's also now try to reflect on the professional aspect of our lives, like get a little more practical thing on this. Most of our listeners are also, leaders of organizations. Mm-hmm. And how can leaders leverage the power of balanced energies to create a thriving and inclusive workplace? And at the same time, are there any specific practices or strategies? I understand we have very limited time and limited space over here as well. But are there any practices that the leaders can implement to have a more thriving leadership role?
Good question. So I believe each one of us is a leader. Again, depends on the leverage we have and from where we are operating. But as I stated earlier, I think in our first episode, that if I am already running a company, but if I want to hire more people and if I have to set up a culture, it would consist of 5 non-negotiables. The culture would be based on this, which would be daily exercise, daily meditation, forgiveness, gratitude, and prayer. This automatically will align an individual to the highest good. So actually, business is spiritual in nature. All things that we do, if we have a good anchor to it, an anchor could be a purpose, a vision, a cause, we would automatically act different, behave different. Mm-hmm. So for the leaders who I believe, of course, will have a vision, but that vision should be inclusive of considering the world, not just profits, but purpose. And of course, there are different people who operate differently. But for me personally, I feel that every leader should have a purpose that is more inclusive, because only then the people जो उनके काम कर रहे हैं उनके साथ वो काम करने में मजा आएगा उनको, because they are fighting for a cause, they are working for something that will actually make an impact. That's how you include people. This is a cause they are fighting for. This is a cause that we want to work for. Could be setting up a refugee camp in Afghanistan. Could be setting up a water tank in Spain. Could be anything, right? But if we have something beyond us, something beyond our own physical material needs, then I feel it would set a good benchmark for our company people to look up to us and to be a part of our organization. So I do a lot of talking with leaders and they are very well in their domain of expertise, but I feel they could enhance more of it when they are less head oriented and more heart oriented. Now the reason I emphasize more heart oriented is because when we are more heart oriented, which means our heart chakra is open and our crown chakras are open, we receive a lot of divine energy. And when the divine energy comes, we become extraordinary. Now, most people would not able to grasp this concept because उन्होंने experience नहीं किया है. So what they can do is they can really sit down. This is what I'm sharing with you, a practice that they can do. Be it a leader or anyone, sit and do nothing. Absolutely nothing. We are so accustomed and so wired to do anything, like whether it is meditation or writing or journaling or breath work or walking, we are always doing, right? We have not trained our mind to not do. It is in stillness that we become invincible. So people should practice stillness a lot. That will give them more reasons to work for. That will give them more balance in their life. They would not become impulsive. They would not react. They would respond. They would have a better flow in their communication. They would know exactly what I'm speaking, how I'm speaking, what's my tone, They would be able to read other people's energy as well. I highly suggest this activity, Pulkit, to you and your community, to really practice stillness, to do absolutely nothing, a detox. You can call it a dopamine detox for 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours, if their time permits. But I think weekend को हम सब ये कर सकते हैं for our growth.
Thanks a lot, Ronak. And I believe it really helps and help me understand if doing the stillness exercise and doing meditation, are they the same thing, or can they
No.
have similarities being drawn?
So they are very much interrelated. Meditation, so I'll give you some understanding about meditation that I have been getting recently. Meditation is not that we listen to an audio, that is a meditation practice, of course. But we already, each of us, are in a meditative state. It's just that we are not aware about it. करके हमें लगता है कि हमें कुछ और additional करना होगा जिसका नाम meditation है. So example, let's say you're super aware, you are talking to me right now and you are aware of my breath, you are aware of your breath, you are aware of the silence, you are aware मेरा pitch कहाँ ऊपर नीचे जा रहा है. You are already meditative, you are meditating. So for most people this would be a very new concept, because when I heard this, when I realized this, and when I asked my teacher, ऐसे क्यों है, they told that Ronak, we all are in a meditative state already. It's just that people take time to really realize and come at this answer. But to answer your question, stillness is doing nothing when you're still, when your mind is still. Of course, thoughts will come and go, right? But that is when you remain still, your thoughts will come, they will go, come, go, and then at some point, you will be nothingness, shunya. That is the absolute state that we all want to achieve, and we will achieve in certain years. Even if we want to achieve liberation or not, we are going to achieve that. All of us, all mankind. For some, it could be 1 lifetime, 10 lifetime, or 100 lifetimes. But ultimately, हम सबका goal वही है. So stillness helps you tap into that. You connect with the divine, because again, divine is energy. God is energy. God does not shout, scream, get hangry. Is stillness, is nothingness. So stillness really helps you tap into that source. So that's come back to source code. So source code जो मैंने नाम दिया है, it goes beyond what it actually means. So that's one. And meditation is again a practice that most people do. But meditation can be achieved right now. What I'm talking to you is what I'm passionate about. It really gives me a lot of humbleness to speak about this topic. And that is itself a meditation for me, where I'm aware what I'm talking about. I'm aware about your presence. I'm aware about the people that they are. Different things, but leads to one thing. I hope that makes sense.
No, totally, it does make sense. And thanks a lot, Ronak, for sharing your insights on balancing masculine and feminine energies and in-depth answering about the source code and understanding the source as well. I have many more questions to ask, which I guess I will take offline with you. And to our listeners, remember that true strength lies in the harmony of both energies, and it also unlocks the path to becoming unstoppable. So join us in our next episode as we continue to explore more on belief systems in today's modern age. That's the topic for our next podcast with Ronak. Thanks a lot, everyone.